Welcome to our deep dive. Today we're tackling uncertainty.
A fascinating topic, for sure.
We're exploring David Spiegelhalter's book
The Art of Uncertainty.
to see what we can learn about this feeling we all get.
That feeling of not knowing.
Exactly. But Spiegelhalter goes way deeper.
He does. Goes beyond that feeling.
Right.
And shows how uncertainty is actually like a relationship between what we know and what we don't about something specific.
Okay, so less about feeling anxious and more about recognizing that our knowledge is limited.
Exactly. It's driven by concrete things.
So what contributes to this uncertainty? You mentioned different types of probability.
Right. Well, sometimes uncertainty comes from just randomness.
Like
Flipping a coin.
Okay.
We know there's a 50-50 chance,
Right.
but we can't predict a single toss.
I see.
That's classical probability.
All right, so that's like the uncertainty of pure chance. But what about when it's less about random chance and more about just not having enough information?
That would be epistemic probability.
Epistemic.
The uncertainty from limited knowledge
Okay.
about complex things, like predicting an election.
Ah, got it.
You've got polls and historical data,
Right.
but there are so many variables.
Yeah.
Turnout, unforeseen events,
So many things.
huge uncertainty.
So it's like the difference between knowing the exact odds
Yes.
of rolling a 6
Uh-huh.
versus predicting the stock market.
Exactly.
Both uncertain, but different types of uncertainty.
Absolutely.
And this matters
It
because
affects how we measure and manage it.
manage that uncertainty.
Yeah, because we use vague terms like likely
Mm-hmm.
or almost certain.
And those can mean different things to different people.
Right. And even organizations like the IP2C.
The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change.
Yes, the IPCC.
Okay.
They need a more standardized language of uncertainty.
It's interesting you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because, did you know?
What?
When they say likely,
Yeah.
they mean a probability range
Like they do?
of 66% to 100%.
That's right.
It's a big range.
It is. And research shows
It's
the public interprets likely
Yeah.
as closer to 50%.
Oh, wow.
Huge potential for misunderstanding.
That's a great point about clear communication,
It is.
especially with complex issues
Yeah.
that affect people's lives. And speaking of different interpretations, Spiegelhalter also talks about
He does.
coincidences, right?
Oh, yeah, he does.
We see those as extraordinary,
Right?
but they're more common than we think.
Statistically speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. One example,
Tell me.
Francis and Mary Huntrods,
Okay.
not only born on the same date,
Uh-huh.
got married and died
Wow.
on the same date too,
Really?
September 19th.
Now, that's what I call a coincidence.
It is. It makes you wonder how many near misses happen
Oh, yeah.
that we don't realize.
We could have walked right by our soulmate.
You could.
Never known.
Exactly. That's the law of truly large numbers.
The law of truly large numbers.
Yeah, with enough people and events,
Okay.
the improbable becomes practically inevitable.
The improbable events
Yeah.
are actually quite probable.
In the vastness of the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a humbling thought
it is.
that chance plays such a big role.
Bigger than we often acknowledge.
And that leads us to
Luck?
luck.
Yes, luck.
We tend to attribute success to
Right.
skill and effort. But he argues
luck plays a role.
luck really matters.
It does, especially constitutive luck.
Hold on. Constitutive luck. What's that?
Circumstances of your birth and upbringing,
Okay.
genes, family background, things we don't control,
We don't, but
they shape our opportunities.
they do.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows this with a story about his grandfather.
Yes. Cecil
Cecil.
narrowly escaped a dangerous battle
Wow.
in World War I
Because
because a German shell landed near him.
so bad luck.
It seemed like it.
Actually saved his life.
Yeah. What we perceive as misfortune can be positive.
It's like that Alanis Morissette song. Ironic.
It is. And this constitutive luck thing
Yeah.
challenges our assumptions about meritocracy and being self-made.
So it's a reminder that we're all standing on the shoulders of giants.
We are.
And our successes
Yeah.
are often influenced by factors beyond our control.
Absolutely.
But if luck is such a big deal, does that mean
Does it mean
our efforts are meaningless?
not at all?
Okay.
He's not saying to give up
Right.
on hard work or responsibility,
Oh, but.
to acknowledge chance
Uh-huh.
and be humble.
Humble about our successes.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that understanding of luck plus those types of probability can help us make better decisions.
So how do we go from just acknowledging uncertainty to actually using it to our advantage?
That's where Bayes' theorem comes in.
Bayes' theorem.
Yeah.
Lay it on me. I'm ready.
Okay. Imagine 2 bags of marbles.
Okay, I'm imagining.
One bag is mostly blue marbles.
Okay, blue marble.
The other has fewer blue marbles.
Okay, got it.
You randomly pick a marble.
Okay.
And it's blue.
Blue marble.
Which bag is it likely from?
Well, probably the bag with more blue marble.
Exactly. That's Bayes' theorem.
What's really?
It's a mathematical way to update our beliefs as we get new information.
I see.
The blue marble is the new information.
Makes sense.
It shifts our belief to the bag with more blue marbles.
So we refine our understanding.
Yes.
As we gather data.
That's right.
Does anyone actually use this theorem?
All the time.
No way.
In medicine, finance, AI.
Wow. Give me an example.
Medical diagnostics.
Okay.
To figure out the probability of a disease.
So doctors
combine multiple pieces of information.
For a more accurate diagnosis.
Exactly.
That's impressive.
And in AI, Bayes' theorem is used for spam filters.
To distinguish between real and junk emails.
Yeah, based on the words they use.
So my inbox benefits from this theorem.
It does?
I love how a complex math concept
It's no, right?
can be so practical.
No, right?
But we need to be careful.
Careful about what?
These statistical models.
Yeah.
They're powerful, but not perfect.
Because
they rely on assumptions.
Oh, I see.
That might not be true.
They're simplifications of reality.
They are.
When have models fallen short?
Like early attempts to measure the speed of light.
Okay, what happened?
Scientists used sophisticated calculations.
Yeah.
But they underestimated the uncertainty because they assumed their instruments were perfect.
So real-world imperfections can throw off even the best models.
Exactly.
Reminds me of that saying, all models are wrong, but some are useful.
Yeah.
We need to use them wisely.
We do, and not overinterpret the results.
Right, like the recovery trial?
Yes, the recovery trial.
For COVID-19.
Yes.
Even with a huge sample size.
Yeah.
There was still uncertainty.
It shows that real-world complexity always brings some uncertainty.
Even with large studies.
Yeah. It makes me think about...
About what?
How do we communicate uncertainty?
It is tough.
Without overwhelming people or losing their trust.
That's why Spiegelhalter focuses on...
On what?
Clear, transparent, and trustworthy communication.
I like that he emphasizes being trustworthy.
Yeah.
Not just trusted.
It is important because it's about correct.
Being honest about what you don't know.
Exactly.
Like he did with the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Yeah.
He made an infographic.
To explain the risks and benefits.
Right.
It's a great example of how visuals can help.
They can. But even with the best communication, making decisions under uncertainty is tough.
It's not just about understanding the numbers, it's also...
psychology.
And emotions, right?
Yes. That's where the fourfold pattern comes in.
Fourfold pattern, huh? Tell me more. How does that help us understand decisions under uncertainty?
Well, it looks at how emotions affect our choices.
Especially when it comes to risk.
Right. The fourfold pattern shows...
We're risk-averse for losses.
Losses,
But risk-seeking for gains.
So we're cautious when we might lose.
Yeah.
But daredevils when we might win big. That's weird.
It is a human tendency.
We're not always rational.
Not at all. Think about it.
Hi.
Have you ever bought a lottery ticket?
Hoping for the jackpot.
Exactly.
But also...
Paid for insurance.
Okay, yeah.
To protect yourself.
I'm guilty of that.
See? It's about how our emotions shape our choices.
So I'm a risk taker and a risk avoider.
Depending on the situation.
How does that even make sense?
It's not about being consistent.
Okay.
It's about how we feel.
About gains and losses.
Yeah. We avoid losses more strongly.
Then we pursue gains.
Oh, that's right.
It's like we're wired that way.
We are.
Makes me think about public health messaging. Like during a pandemic.
Yes.
Just giving the odds.
Enough getting sick.
Or the vaccine's effectiveness might not be enough.
Because people don't always act rationally.
Right.
Spiegelhalter gets this.
He does.
And that's why he talks about the tolerability of risk framework.
Tolerability of risks.
Yeah. It's about categorizing risks.
Based on how tolerable they are.
Right. Not just the probabilities.
But also the consequences.
Then our values.
So some risks might be intolerable.
No matter the probability.
Like nuclear power.
Exactly.
The chance of an accident is low.
Statistically speaking.
But the consequences could be devastating.
Right. So people see it as intolerable.
Okay, but some risks are tolerable.
If the benefits outweigh the risks.
Like driving a car.
Yes. There's always a risk of an accident.
But we accept it.
For convenience and freedom.
And then some risks are so small.
That we don't even think about them.
Like getting struck by lightning.
That's right.
So it's not just about the odds.
It's about how we value the benefits.
And how we feel about the consequences.
Exactly. This framework helps us make better judgments.
About risk.
Yes. It's more holistic.
I like that.
It's not just about numbers.
It's about the whole picture.
Right.
This makes me think about predicting the future.
Ah, yes, the big unknown.
Is it even possible?
Well, predicting the future is inherently uncertain.
Especially the long term.
Right. Spiegelhalter compares it to...
To what?
Predicting the weather.
Versus?
Predicting climate change.
Ah, that's a good one.
We can predict tomorrow's weather.
Yeah.
But climate change is much harder.
Because it's so complex.
Exactly. And the timescales are huge.
So many variables.
That's feedback loops.
It's mind-boggling.
It is. And he also talks about
what?
The future of humanity.
Oh, wow.
Extinction probabilities.
Like what?
Asteroid strikes.
Oh, yeah.
Pandemics. Even artificial intelligence.
Taking over the world.
It's a popular one.
It is. But these are all hard to predict.
With any certainty.
Right, because of the complexity.
It's a reminder that we don't know everything.
So are we just at the mercy of fate?
No. Acknowledging uncertainty shouldn't paralyze us.
Okay, good.
It's about navigating it.
Using it to our advantage.
Exactly.
Okay, give me some key takeaways
Right.
to help us with uncertainty.
One is that uncertainty is a relationship.
Not just a feeling.
Right. It's about knowing what we know.
And what we don't know.
Exactly.
That's a good way to think about it.
And use numbers for uncertainty.
Whenever possible.
To be more precise.
Like those standardized scales.
Like the IPCC uses.
Yeah. And remember that models are simplifications.
They are.
They're tools.
Not crystal balls.
We need to use them wisely.
And be aware of the assumptions.
Right. Don't overinterpret the results.
Exactly. Communication is also key.
Clear, transparent, trustworthy.
Yes. Be honest about what you don't know.
Don't overwhelm people with information.
Right.
And when making decisions,
yes,
be aware of our biases.
About risk.
Our emotions can really trip us up.
They can.
So much good stuff here.
There is.
And Spiegelhalter ends with a thought-provoking question.
He does.
What is it?
He asks, what are the circumstances where we might prefer to remain ignorant?
That's a tough one. Makes you think about knowledge.
It does.
Sometimes I'd rather not know.
Especially if you can't control it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, do we always want to know the truth?
Is ignorance bliss?
Or is knowledge always better?
Even if it's scary.
Right. It's a balance.
A tough choice.
It is. What level of uncertainty are we okay with?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like our culture really values certainty.
It does.
But Spiegelhalter shows us
what?
That embracing uncertainty,
yeah,
it's not about giving up.
Not at all.
It's about being okay with not knowing.
It is. And think about it.
About what?
Some of the best discoveries came from embracing uncertainty.
Give me an example.
Scientific breakthroughs, art, even personal growth.
You have to take risks.
Sometimes you have to.
Step outside your comfort zone.
Right. It's like that saying.
What's that?
The greatest danger is aiming too low.
Ah, aiming too low and reaching it.
Exactly. Maybe embracing uncertainty leads to bigger things.
It's like the art of uncertainty.
It is.
Not just tolerating it.
But using it.
To help us grow.
To discover new things.
I'm really glad we did this deep dive.
Me too.
It changed how I think about uncertainty.
It's not something to fear.
It's part of life.
It is. And we can use it to our advantage.
Spiegelhalter's book really encourages us.
To do what?
To lean into uncertainty.
Right.
To be okay with not knowing.
He wants us to be lifelong learners.
Keep asking questions.
And be open to new ideas.
That's a good way to put it. So the takeaway is,
what?
Instead of fearing uncertainty, we can see it as a chance to be more curious.
Yes. Ask more questions.
Explore new things.
I like that. So next time you're feeling uncertain, remember it's an opportunity.
To grow.
A discovery.
Maybe even for an adventure.
And don't forget that question.
The one about when we prefer to be ignorant.
It's something to think about.
As we face life's uncertainties.
We'll leave you with that.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.
Thank you for joining us at Wisdom House, where we bring you timeless insights from the greatest books. If you found this deep dive valuable, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom House. Stay curious, stay inspired, and we'll see you in the next video.